John Henry Smith up in the crow's nest with more on Germany's big win, and it was a huge win.
Del, Stephanie, I don't think anybody saw a win of that magnitude coming. You know, Team Brazil and their fans were hopeful that playing mighty Germany on Brazilian soil could help them overcome the loss of their top scorer Neymar to injury and top defender Thiago Silva to suspension. Brazil hadn't lost a non-friendly match at home since 1975, 40 years. But Germany swiftly made the partisan Brazil crowd abandon all hope. Germany scored 4 goals in a 6-minute span to take a shocking 5-0 lead at the half. Brazilian fans at the match and across the country looked on in stunned disbelief. Germany goes on to win 7-1. Brazil becomes the first host nation to ever lose a World Cup match by 3 or more goals. Afterwards, Brazil's coach Luis Felipe Scolari held himself accountable, saying, quote, "It's a catastrophic result which can be shared with the whole group, but I made the decisions, I decided the lineups and the tactics. The person responsible is me. It's the worst moment of my career." This 7-1 loss joins with Brazil's 2-1 championship game upset defeat to Uruguay in 1950 as the country's most teeth-gnashing soccer moments. Meanwhile, Germany makes its record 8th appearance Sunday in the World Cup finals. They will play the winner of today's other semifinal match between the Netherlands and Argentina. Stephen Dell. Well, it was a heated Game 1 of the NBA Finals, and I mean that literally. Last night's anticipated matchup between the Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs wound up taking place in a virtual sauna when an electrical malfunction shut down the air conditioning inside San Antonio's AT&T Center. It was about 90 degrees in the building, and that had an effect on the players, none more so than LeBron James. The Heat forward was forced to leave the game because of severe leg cramps. The Spurs were able to take advantage, finishing the fourth quarter on a 31-6 run. Spurs win 110-95 and take a 1-0 series lead.
Because these are pretty scandalous accusations being made tonight.
And it's causing quite a storm in the sports world, Jonathan. The website TMZ.com has released audio recordings of a man they allege to be Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling. In these recordings, the man can be heard scolding a woman alleged to be his girlfriend, V. Stiviano, for being seen associating with blacks, specifically NBA legend Magic Johnson. Stiviano had posted a picture of her and Johnson posing together on her Instagram page. Among other things, the man on the recording says, quote, "It bothers me a lot that you want to broadcast that you're associating with black people. Do you have to?" Unquote. Later, the man says, quote, "Don't put him," i.e. Magic, "on an Instagram for the world to have to see, so they have to call me. And don't bring him to my games." Unquote. Now, this afternoon, Magic Johnson responded with a series of tweets, including the following, quote, "I will never go to a Clippers game again as long as Donald Sterling is the owner," unquote. And then the longtime Los Angeles Laker turned his attention to the actual Clippers team. Johnson went on to tweet, quote, "LA Clippers owner Donald Sterling's comments about African Americans are a black eye for the NBA," unquote. Coach Rivers and the Clippers are in the midst of a playoff series against Golden State. That's Coach Doc Rivers. Rivers made these remarks today.
This is a situation where we're trying to go after something very important.
As I alluded to a moment ago, Magic Johnson also expressed sympathy for Coach Rivers and Chris Paul for having to play in a situation like that. Obviously, Coach Rivers is African American, as are 12 of his 14 players. The comment we just played would seem to indicate the team is not inclined to boycott any playoff games, despite multiple reports stating the players are quite angry about all this, Jonathan.
Yeah, quite angry, understandably. And what do we know about this team owner, John? Is this out of character for him?
Well, Sterling has put out a statement this afternoon in which, first, he does not confirm or deny actually making these statements, but he says in his second breath that the views expressed in these recordings do not reflect his true feelings about people of color. However, it should be noted that last year Sterling paid a $2.7 million settlement against a lawsuit alleging that he discriminated against blacks and Hispanics in his Southern California rental properties. That's the largest such settlement of this type of suit ever. And many articles over the years, including a long one in Sports Illustrated back in 2009, have reported Sterling as being guilty of repeated racist comments and business practices. It's really hard to find people today who are surprised that Donald Sterling is caught up in this type of situation.
So this has come up before, okay. And real quickly, what happens next after all this? Because, I mean, he's obviously the owner. He's not a player or the coach. So can the league penalize him without penalizing the team?
Well, first, what happens next? You alluded to it at the beginning of these remarks. Certainly, the NBA says they are investigating right now, and you would think that investigation would start and end with the question, did he say these things? Was that his voice on the recordings? And if they find that to be the case, then the next step is Adam Silver, the new commissioner of the NBA, has his first crisis to deal with. Does he suspend Donald Sterling? There is precedence in major professional sports for suspending an owner. Marge Schott in baseball, for example, Eddie DeBartolo in football. So there is precedent for suspending an owner. Of course, you cannot make him sell the team. So this plot promises to thicken.
I even wonder what suspending an owner even looks like. I mean, how does that even work? It's such an interesting dilemma, I guess.
Well, certainly you've got to imagine that the other owners in the NBA can't be happy about this. You imagine there might be pressure brought to bear there as well.
Okay, we'll see what shakes out. John Henry Smith, thank you for coming in. We appreciate it.